All right, welcome to our second feature match for week 6 in the streets of New Capenna League. This time we are watching Maxime, who we saw back in week 1, so he's bookending our feature matches here. He was a feature match in week 1 against Ryan D, who this is the third time we've seen him in the feature match, and he's on 10 losses, so this is an elimination match for him, not for Maxime. Maxime, I believe he had 8 losses. So this is an elimination match for Ryan. So what's going on over in Ryan's hand there? I know he's probably still running the Broker's deck that we saw him playing a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a textbook broker's deck. Plains, Forest, Raffine's Informant, Disciplined Duelist, Lagrella and Magpie, Cleanup Crew. No blue source yet.
Okay. Yeah, so we saw him have some mana issues. Didn't get to play out all his stuff, was missing, I believe he was missing a color to play Lagrella, and he kept drawing Lagrellas. The last time we saw the feature match, he drew the second Lagrella, then he drew the third Lagrella, and he was off of one of the colors. So his deck stumbled a bit. We didn't get to see it operate, but looks to be pretty efficient. Maxime is running a Maestro's deck, which looks to be base black-red. And he's been having success with it over the past several weeks. So down comes the Corrupt Court Official. So I see Ryan, he connived away the 6-drop there.
And kept an Illuminator Virtuoso.
That makes sense. If he's not high on lands right now. Okay, so there's a land. I guess he'll follow it up with the 2-drop Virtuoso. Right now he's got all his colors settled, so looks like we'll be able to have a back and forth game. So Maxime has a murder in hand as well as a mutual destruction, which is a spell from Ikoria where you could sacrifice a creature you have to sacrifice a creature and you get to kill a creature for 1 mana. And now this Blood Tithe Harvester that he just played, which was his draw for the turn, from Crimson Vow, where it makes a blood, and it's a 2 mana 3/2 that makes a blood. If that wasn't good enough, you could sack it to kill something later on.
Yeah, what a great addition to a Maestro's deck.
Oh yeah, especially with the sacrifice and whatnot.
That card's seen play in a whole bunch of constructed formats nowadays.
Yeah, I believe it was the Grixis Vampire deck from the last championship that featured that as a 2-drop. The Disciplined Duelist. So that's going to be an annoyance here for Maxime because he has a Mutual Destruction and a Murder in hand, neither of which cleanly answer this kind of almost just ubiquitous card for the Brokers decks in this league. Yeah, so he's
the remaining one, which is a Lagrella, the Magpie, and a Plains.
Yeah, so Maxime drew a Shakedown Heavy now, which is that big 6/4, the 3 mana rare, and he has a Fake Your Own Death in hand as well. So not exactly the right tools to fight against the Duelist. The Shakedown Heavy is going to come down. There's a good chance Lagrella might snag that. But Maxime does have 2 removal spells to kill the Lagrella. So if he can fight through this Disciplined Duelist, Ryan only has 1 card left in hand. What's the 1 card left in his hand here?
It's a forest.
Okay, so it's a forest. So the Lagrella here, it took the Illuminator Virtuoso. So if Maxime wants to Shakedown Heavy back, it's going to be at the cost of his opponent getting a 3/3 double strike. But he can also kill that. So he does have 2 kill spells in hand. But this Duelist is presenting quite a problem, particularly for his life total and for the fact that he can't interact with it favorably. So let's see what he decides to do this turn. No. Yeah, so he's attacking with the Corrupt Court Official. He has Fake Your Own Death in case Ryan blocks, but can't imagine he would block.
Do you think Maxime's lining up to Fake Your Own Death plus Mutual Destruction to get the same effect in case he doesn't block?
Yeah, there's a good chance here. It looks like that's what he's decided to do. Get some extra damage in. get the last card out of Ryan's hand, even if it is a land, get his creature back, and then, probably murder that 3/3 double strike the next opportunity it has. So, here it comes.
It's amazing that the Shakedown Heavy doesn't block either of those creatures.
Most certainly does not.
Ryan is drawn to depopulate.
Okay, well, not sure he's tempted to use that now, so it looks like this trade's going to happen. Yeah, so this murder is just sitting in Maxime's hand very sadly. Well, here comes a Corpse Appraiser, so that can help look for an answer to this 2/1. See if you can find something. He's got a Raffine's... looking at Raffine's Silencer, a land, and a Girder Goons here. So Raffine's Silencer is... it is an answer to the Duelist, so if it blocks it and dies, despite the shield counter, the -X still applies.
But this might be enough for Ryan to pull the trigger on the depopulate here, which for him might as well
Sacrifice the shield.
sack a counter, draw a card, Plague Wind, right? Like,
Well, he'll still lose the Duelist to the Silencer dying.
oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. So he still might feel like he needs to. Maxime has a last card left in hand that he drew. There was a Maestro's Diabolus. That's the card that he opted to keep over the murder. So, a good little threat there.
Oh yeah, that card is a house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 4 toughness. Death touch.
And those pings are good answers. Those devils are good answers to shield counters.
So Maxime has drawn a multiple choice here, which he's going to use to make a 4/4 draw a card and get that 2/1 out of the way for a turn.
But unfortunately, this is going to let Ryan's happy to pick up his 2/1 here. That means his depopulate is a time wipe instead of a wrath.
Yeah, so
He
this
gets to save his guy.
so this depopulate is actually gonna work out for him. So this bouncing is actually strangely not gonna work out for Maxime in the long run, though. Obviously, with the exception of a board wipe, this was a very, very good play. So yeah, the depopulate comes down. Maxime does get to draw a card, which is a strangle, and he does get to be the first one to to deploy more creatures on the board. If he draws an untapped land, he can play 2 creatures potentially. So he's drawn the untapped land. He has a Maestro's Diabolus. He has a Courier Bat, which gets a creature back from the graveyard so long as you've gained life this turn. Otherwise, it's just a 2/2 flyer.
I guess that works with the fetch lands in this set.
Yep.
Random life gain sprinkled around every deck. But here it's just going to be a Stormcrow.
Yeah. I mean, this is a threat now. I mean, this 2/2 is going to get in.
Yeah. He can't race though, right? Like,
he was off one turn. He drew his gain land from Kamigawa here, the Dismal Backwater.
That's unfortunate timing.
It's another life gain trigger. Yeah. So he has a Strangle in hand. He could use it on the Jewel Thief, or he could just not, because he has a 1/4 death touch.
It's cheating.
Oh, inspiring Overseer is cheating.
Yes. Speaking of cheating, holy cow!
Yeah, you have to work to draw a card with the Courier Bat. All you got to do with Inspiring Overseer is just put that thing on the stack.
All right. Well, the last card in hand is just a Plains, so
Okay.
I mean, oh.
He's out of gas, but this board is pretty even here.
Yeah, I don't. I guess he's weighing. Does he want to trade the shield counter and the duelist for the devil? And I think if you do that, Maxime probably just swings back with 1/4 and makes another devil. So I don't think the attacks quite work out here.
No, if he attacks with the duelist, he can just chump block, with the devil, and then take the shield counter off.
Oh, this is interesting. He's got the settings menu open, and he unchecked auto-assign combat damage.
Yes,
What on earth does that mean here?
That means that when you double block something, with when a devil is involved in a double block, you could choose to put all the damage on one or the other creature.
Okay, so he wanted to play around the double blocks so that he could assign all four to the Diabolist and none to the Devil.
Yes, exactly. So
So
yeah, so that specific setting I've used before when there might be a double block involving a devil.
looks like Maxime is going to get his Devil back here.
Yeah, yeah. The devils are tricky because sometimes like you double block with a creature and a devil, assuming that both
Wait a minute,
creatures are going to die.
Maxime's just dead here.
All right, I assume there's a trick of some
Ryan's
kind.
got the Workshop War Chief, which with its
Oh,
Blitz ability will hit for 5, which is only 4 less than 9.
all right. Well, that is a draw.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate way to go.
Yeah, yeah. Maxime had he just never answered that duelist. That duelist just went the whole wire. It came down on turn 4, I believe, and just
Yeah.
was a menace. Uh, he bounced it for a turn, but it actually strangely worked against him because of the depopulate that came down right after. Yeah, so as I mentioned, Maxime's playing a black-red deck. He has several Maestro's cards that are blue and a multiple choice as well in blue. So it looks like he's dragged a couple cards to the side here, seeing what he's deciding to swap in or out. He did look like he dragged in a Flame Blessed Bolt, which is a 1 mana 2 damage to a creature, and it exiles it.
Yeah,
And
this
he's
is
yeah.
this is happening a lot with just about always in this league. You sideboard to lower your curve. I've yet to see somebody sideboard out to make their deck more expensive. So people definitely feeling the pressure of the fastest format we've had in a long time.
Yeah, looks like he's also considering bringing in a Pyre Sledge Arsonist. He has enough sacrifice things that he can make work. His deck is not a dedicated sacrifice deck, but he has enough sacrifice things between some blitz creatures, and he has a body dropper and a mutual destruction. So it's he's not maximizing it to its absolute highest potential, but card could be good.
Yeah, Ryan is working on his removal in the sideboard, dropping out the Hold for Ransoms and a Disdainful Stroke, bringing in Bouncer's Beatdown and Buy Your Silence, looking for that last ad.
So those are more permanent answers, right?
What do you think he's hoping to answer with the Buy Your Silence that his other removal suite wasn't getting for him?
Well, I think, when an opponent has shown that they have sacrificed things, your Hold for Ransoms are just getting worse.
Well, that's
And
a good point.
it just gets it off the board clean. So even for 5 mana, I did mention specifically Buy Your Silence in the earlier video, how just sometimes that's what you got to do. Not what you want to do, but sometimes what you got to do. And, Hold for Ransom is going to be at its worst against these black-red decks that can, sacrifice the creature easily. So let's see what happens in this game. I did see a couple of deal gone bad in Maxime's sideboard. He didn't consider it. He does have 2 Call and a Professional, which do kill the shield counter creature. It was just that was such a problem for him. So Maxime has a hand of 5 lands, a Strangle, and a Join the Maestros. So
Brian seems a bit more raw, powerful, but a bit on the expensive side. Starts out with a Lagrella, then a Bouncer's Beatdown, then he's got a Sanctuary Warden all the way up at 6.
okay.
He's got 4 rounded out. He does have all of his broker's colors.
Yeah, so Maxime got some good fortune here, drawing a Body Dropper that he can deploy on turn 2, because otherwise it would have been a while before anything hit the board on his side.
Yeah. If I had to guess what's going to happen, he's going to play that. It's going to get Lagrella, then Lagrella's going to get Strangled. If I had to take a wild guess. Although the Jewel Thief might come down instead, just as that Ryan's just drawn that blocks Body Dropper.
Yeah, the Jewel Thief gets in front. Oh, Mastro's Diabolist off the top. So Maxime has had some timely draws here, going from a very clunky looking hand to a very compact looking hand. Yeah, here comes the Jewel Thief.
Interestingly, Bouncer's Beatdown is online for 1 mana as it hits black permanents. I think Ryan's just learning that too. He was just reading that card because it lit up.
Yeah, that does come up. Not as much in this league. You are less likely to come up against people playing black creatures this late in the league, but it does happen from time to time. A lot of people are on the broker's colors, so you don't get that discount
really
too
good
often.
efficient mana spell for him to bring in from the sideboard because he's playing against black. 1 mana exile.
Yeah, no, I kind of like Bouncer's Beatdown as a main deck card, but yeah, when you're playing a black opponent, it's even better than it usually is, and it usually is just very good. Yeah, so
Looks
he
like
comes in with the Diabolist here. He's going to get attacked back for 3. Let's see what Ryan
he's
decides
got
to do.
a Duelist and a Lagrella in hand now, as well as the Beatdown. And I have to imagine that the Beatdown's going to get. Well, actually, now that I say it, if he doesn't use the treasure on this turn cycle, he could cast Sanctuary Ward in the turn after with the lands he knows he has. So he might just hold it up in case he sees an opportunity to blow
He
Maxime
put
out.
a stop on the draw step. So.
Yeah, it doesn't. The Bouncer's Beatdown doesn't kill the Diabolist, so it's not maximized. But now this Disciplined Duelist is coming down, which gave Maxime fits last game, and is looking to do much of the same here. So Maxime has a Strangle, multiple choice, join the Maestros, and 3 lands. So he's going to strangle it looks like the Jewel Thief here. Strangling the Disciplined Duelist is not how you want to be using your cards. He's thinking about whether he wants to strangle or not. I mean, he could play multiple choice, but unlikely to do that here for less than
Well, he wouldn't
less than the
have.
5 mana.
He would just have the expensive opt, right? Would be his the mode he would choose.
Yeah, well, he could have cast it for X equals 2, which makes opponent bounce something, I believe. Either way,
I don't know if
it's not where he wants to be. So he's just gonna have to play his tap line here and pass it along.
And he's in some trouble now because he's just not going to have an answer to what I got to assume is a Sanctuary Warden about to hit the table here.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult to fight through.
Ryan could double spell with 3s, but I don't see a compelling reason why he'd do that. His 3s are kind of tempo pieces and removal, and the Warden's just demands an answer.
Yeah, and Maxime deck, aside from his Call-in of Professionals, really has a hard time with shield counters. That might
Warden
be...
notably has Warden notably with 4 toughness. Yeah. Looks like he's going to opt for the Celestial Regulator.
Okay, he's going to play it a little slower here.
Yeah, just hit in with his Duelist.
Just
preserve the treasure, I suppose.
I think he feels like he's ahead, so he doesn't have to deploy it immediately. Maybe doesn't want to see a board wipe of some kind.
Might also been playing around Make Disappear. There were 2 open mana on Maxime's side.
Yeah, that's a fair thing to do. As we saw during the sideboarding, Maxime's deck he's just splashing the blue, so he doesn't have any counter spells to speak of. But Ryan doesn't necessarily know that for a fact. So he wants his bomb to resolve, and this turn it will, if he wants it to.
Yeah, on the fight of bomb versus bomb, multiple choice is going to get outranked here.
Yeah, this Sanctuary Warden is, like I said, he's not equipped to deal with it. Either not just in his hand, his deck is just gonna have a hard time against that.
Bouncing the Regulator only helps Ryan. But it does its thing when it comes into the battlefield.
Yeah, it's just going to create more of a setback here for Maxime. He's just trying to stay alive as long as he can, and I don't know if the Bouncer's Beatdown was necessary there, but the Body Dropper is something that maybe could get large enough to be troublesome later. So he just fired it off there. So what's he thinking about here?
Well, he picked up Lagrella, wanted to thought about casting that, but now I think he's rethinking that, well, this is the turn to get Sanctuary Warden out.
Yeah.
The token is a juicy target for the Lagrella, though. You can see where he's kind of coming from.
Yeah, the Lagrella does kill that 4/4 clean. But with his current life total, I mean, I don't think he could be that concerned about taking 4 for a turn. He's just going to slam this down.
Yeah,
and put
I
the
think the other plays would have been overthinking it.
Yeah, so Maxime has a call in the professional now, so it's not looking too hot here. I mean he could do it on the duelist, but
yeah,
you attack with the Death Toucher. Yeah, there you go. And if he blocks a Death Toucher with the Warden, he gets very blown out. It looks like he's going to no block though.
Well, with Maxime at 11, why does he need to put his 5/5 flyer in harm's way here when it's just going to win the game very quickly?
Yeah, the race math being on Ryan's side here is.
So he's going to call in a professional.
It looks like he's gonna double removal the 5/5. He's gonna call in. He's considering calling plus abrading it because
but then he still has the duelist to deal with, so it's all sorts of problems. And Ryan still has 4 cards in hand. Yeah, so he is he's spending 2 cards to kill a card that made a 1/1 and drew a card. So
sometimes you got to bite that bullet, but I don't know this is going to work out for him.
Yeah, Maxime is a very skilled player. If he's come to that decision, then it's probably correct. But it's not the decision that he would have liked. It's not the play he would have liked to do. But
yeah, right, we're operating knowing that Ryan's hand is just full of straight gas.
Yeah, who needs a Lagrella when you can just psychic pickpocket and kill the 4/4 that way? Yeah,
let's line up pretty well.
Yeah, so of note. All the creatures that Ryan has right now are ground creatures, so Maxime can deploy things that block them. Funnily enough, he has Join the Maestros in hand, which he does not have a 2-power creature to sack to it.
You can't sack 2 1-power creatures?
No.
Ooh.
Okay, so this extinction event can wipe everything except the Devil token, which he probably has to do here. He could try and wait a turn, but that might be greedy.
Try and wait a turn and bait out another body or 2.
Yeah, because he could.
You don't know about Lagrella, which is the one that blows you out in the end, but he's got a 3-drop flyer.
Yeah, he could just flat out cast this Join the Maestros as a 4/3, which doesn't.
Looks like that's what he's going to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to try to have the token survive and hope that Ryan plays Celestial Regulator plus Odd Spell. If Ryan takes none of his own creatures with the Lagrella, he could completely swing the board here. Let's see what happens.
So,
Lagrella's going to eat that 4/3, and is he going to do the safe play? He's going to do the greedy play. Okay,
so he's not going to put one.
And he's going to regulate. He's going to regulate it. Yeah,
because he has the attacks here. So.
He sure does.
This is going to be very fortuitous for Maxime here. So he's on death's door, but he's going to make it through. He's going to make it through the next turn because he's going to kill everything.
Yeah.
And he'll even have a 3/1 to follow it up. Yeah. So Extinction Event, one of those other cards from outside the set, coming down and doing something completely unexpected.
That card was weird enough when you knew you had to think about it, let alone now that you don't.
Yeah, that's one you're just never really going to see coming. It just so happened that all these creatures were odd mana cost. That's just coincidence. It just could have been half and half, but it just happened to be that way. Here's a Resistance Squad, another one from out of set where you draw a card if you control another human.
Is that from Vow or Midnight Hunt? I don't remember.
I think it was Crimson Vow.
Looks like straight brick there, and the buyer silence is gonna buy Ryan the victory in the match.
All right, so that buyer silence sided in. Hold for Ransom would have done the same thing, but here we are. So Ryan has stayed alive. He was not going to be eliminated on this match. And he takes down Maxime with a 2-0 victory. And that's the match, folks. Thank you all.